This is who I think would win between Saitama and Sukuna, and more importantly, how. So after checking out the most recent chapter of One Punch Man, it made me wonder, what if Sukuna was in One Punch Man? And this is precisely because we have this new character in One Punch Man who has a stronger version of Sukuna's greatest ability. And what it is essentially is this dimensional slash. And when I first saw it, my immediate reaction and thought was that this is kind of an homage to Sukuna, just to show us if Sukuna was in One Punch Man, how it would go. And so maybe one was going to add this ability anyway, but at the very least, I think we're going to find out how Saitama would deal with Sukuna's world cutting slash. Technically, it's the only ability that Sukuna has that Saitama can't just tank, in theory. So I think we already have enough information to know exactly how a fight between Sukuna and Saitama would go. But in this video, I'll also be talking about how other Jujutsu Kaisen characters match up against One Punch Man characters. For example, like how does Garo match up against Gojo or Saitama against Gojo. But I think the one that deserves an entire video of its own is Saitama against Maharaga, or even Maharaga against Garo. So definitely drop a follow if you want to see those when they come out. But with that said, let's get right into it. I remember during the height of Jujutsu Kaisen, when Sukuna finally unveiled this new world-breaking ability, literally, I was just wondering to myself, like, could Sukuna's dimensional slash cut Saitama? Since the definition of this dimensional slashes is that they're basically unblockable by anything in this world, and if anything is a part of the world, the dimensional slash is going to cut through it. It cuts the entire world basically. And this ability of this guy in One Punch Man seems to be even way stronger than Sukuna's ability to cut the world. He cut even like mountains, and it seems like he cut almost an entire city in this last chapter. Also, Blast's ability are really insane. So spoiler alert, I don't think this is the guy to defeat Saitama, obviously. Even if he does have this insane world cutting slash. I think we can all expect that the fact that this guy is in this series means that Saitama is going to be able to tank this ability. The only question I have is, what is going to be the explanation on how Saitama does it? We've seen Saitama interact with like other dimensional stuff before, like in an almost comical way where he just grabs like hyperspace and some other stuff that shouldn't even be grabbable, let alone even be able to see it. So I think ultimately, in the end, we're going to find out that Saitama is almost like a being that transcends even like other dimensions. The fact that one is introducing like science and dimensions and other universes and stuff like that in One Punch Man, or maybe not other universes, but like hyper dimensions, time, all of this means that the god that is eventually going to be the final enemy is going to be someone who is in control of all of these fundamental forces of reality. And I think that Saitama is just going to be able to transcend all of that. And I actually like that a lot because I am a big fan of Saitama. Anytime I see like Superman or any other hero against Saitama, I am always rooting for Saitama. But the one thing I'm a little worried about is that eventually they're gonna say that, oh, Saitama's entire origin is him getting these powers from God or stealing God's powers. He's not going to be as OP as just the idea of him being able to just destroy everything with one punch. Once they put like a definitive ceiling on his power, then that's just going to be that. Although I do hope that this is not the direction where they go. So assuming Sukuna can't beat Saitama, I don't really see any other way or any other hacks that Sukuna might have. Maybe you guys could remind me of something. But the other guy who's remaining is Gojo. However, I do think that Sukuna with Maharaga is a little more interesting. I'm going to do an entire video talking about how Maharaga matches up against Saitama, and particularly like Sukuna with Maharaga, because I think that's slightly more interesting. But for now, let's talk about how Gojo matches up against Saitama. I think a guy like this guy who just did the dimensional slash in One Punch Man, I think he might be able to defeat Gojo. Maybe. Gojo does have the infinity and other weird hacks, so maybe he could do it, but I think the slash would go through Gojo's infinity because we already know that Gojo's infinity is a part of this world. And that guy is stated to attack from the outside. And so I think if Saitama is beyond this guy, he's beyond even the higher dimension that this guy is attacking from, I think Saitama is literally above infinity and anything in this universe, as he has proven before with that hyperspace stuff, and as he's going to prove again when he tanks this dimensional slash. So yeah, I think Saitama wins. Definitely happy that it's back, and we're going to be covering a lot more One Punch Man on this channel, so drop a follow if you're interested in that. And thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.